Hi folks, this is Danny at Bradley James Classics, and today's trade-in car is a Peugeot 405 from, let me see, the 1st of the 1st 1994. Now this car remarkably has only ever had one single owner from new, and that gentleman has just stopped driving at the ripe old age of 92 years old. So the car has come to us as a part exchange, and we are selling her on as a going concern, ready to jump in and enjoy. All we've done is literally run it through our workshop to make sure that everything is up together and roadworthy. All the levels are checked, tyres pumped up and given the once over. The MOT was only done in, I think it was December 2022, so at the time of making this video, which is we're into March now, that should mean it's got about 9 months MOT left, 8 or 9 months MOT. Now the car is in very good driving order, and I've got to say, having just taken it for a spin, I forgot just how nice and comfortable these old Peugeots were. We've sold a few Peugeots of this era in our time here at Bradley James because they seem to be well loved because of the fact they are large, comfortable cars that were excellent on fuel and actually very reliable. This one's probably got the most memorable of all those diesel engines that were fitted in these 1990s cars. It has the XUD engine, which was a 1905cc turbo diesel. They were known for doing 50 miles to the gallon, sometimes plus if you drive them like a saint, but they're also known for their reliability and high mileage capabilities, which brings me on to the next subject, mileage. 248,000 miles, fully serviced from when the car was new. We didn't get a huge amount of paperwork, but we did get the last invoice, which talks about the car having had £308 spent on it to get it through its last MOT, new set of windscreen wipers. I can tell you that it's just had a pair of Michelin tyres on the front, which cost £250. So if you just add those two together, that's a spend of about £500 in recent months. However, the car itself is just good to get in and drive as is. There are plenty of imperfections here and there on the paintwork. I'll get close up and show you some of those. The interior is in good order considering it's done some miles, and apparently I'm no expert on number plates, but that L69 peg, I guess if your name's Peggy, or you work for a haberdashery shop and sell pegs, it could be of great value to someone. Allegedly the number plate was worth a few bob when the previous owner had checked out prices at one of these online companies, but I'm not sure if those online companies are always really massively accurate with their valuations. I'm not a number plate expert, but to someone it would be a bit of fun. We're certainly not taking the plate off of it, so if there is some money to be had by selling the plate, then wonderful. Apparently he was told it was worth £800. So back to the car. It's in a handsome lighter blue metallic. It has retained all of its wheel trims all round. It looks totally standard. It even has the original radio cassette. Now the model is a GLD, so the D bit is the diesel, the GL is like a mid-range model. It has things like central locking, it's got a sunroof, it's got power steering. It's not the top of the range model, which probably came with a bit more. This one is still quite old school in that there is things like manual rear windows to deal with, electric front windows. The seats are always sort of armchair-like in here. And considering that's done 248,000 miles, it's in pretty good order, I'd say. No terrible damage anywhere inside to the dashboard. Got a bit of a split in one of the seats here, but I've got a feeling if you've got someone in the family who's good with a needle and thread, you could take care of that. We got the lid missing off of the centre armrest. Again, nothing drastic. 5-speed manual, if I didn't already mention. Now the back seat, as with a lot of cars which are owned by elderly people, I don't think this car has had a lot of passengers. It's immaculate, the rear seat, and there's the door cards all in good order as well. Let's have a quick look at the top headlining. Yep, that's all good. And there looks to be a electric sunroof and slide over cover. That old school radio cassette, and anyone who remembers, bit of memory lane for you, you could always hide the radio and you could pretend to a thief that you haven't got a radio. There's a quarter of a tank of petrol, which actually would probably get you a few miles in one of these old girls. Let's have a little further look round if I can find the... I'm on the wrong side to open the bonnet. Now, again, those in the know will know that they referred to this one as the Phase 2 Peugeot 405. Peugeot 405s run from about, I think it's about 87 to about 97, and I guess, was it 96? I don't know. We had the, I think it was 97 actually, when the Peugeot 406 came out to replace this. And for a lot of people, the Peugeot 405 took some beating. The Peugeot 406 was a well-loved car as well. And just to centre again on the engine, why this is the one to have, this has got the indirect diesel engine, so it's not the HDI model, it's the engine to go for from a MPG and reliability point of view. It did end up in a few different vehicles, namely a Citroen VX of course, and then various others. That the PSA group of engines did end up in quite a lot of other cars. Oh yes, I was going to show you the engine, wasn't I? So I'm just going to go around to the passenger side. This is where I'm expecting to find the little button. That's it, so that's just there for those who need to know. Now I'm going to see if I can do the old one-hand opening of the bonnet trick, which isn't always very easy, but we'll give it a go for you. That's how you pull it. There's a little thing that pulls out, by the way, and I'm holding a phone with the other hand, so got it. Well, considering this has got 248,000 miles on it, as I look at the engine, that looks rather clean. There's the battery, which is a Yuasa. Looks quite a heavy-duty battery, so there's certainly been no trouble starting it. It's all rather clean and pleasant here. You can see that oil filter is in good nick. That alternator doesn't look very old. The fuel filter sit right at the top here. They was always very easy to get to, and actually here I am looking around with great interest. I can't see any intercooler here. I had a feeling they might have sat on the top, but I do remember this little pump up primer. If you ever run out of fuel, you could give that a little bit of a squeeze and that opens it up again. Yeah, there was always quite a nice easy engine to work on, sort of thing you could maintain yourself, but people always ask me for under the bonnet look rounds, and this is it here. A few little stickers. Well folks, that's the under the bonnet part, and now if we have a little look round this car together, and I will give you an assessment of how we go. Now the car's literally come in. We've got a bit of corrosion starting to show through on that front wing. Again, if you could give it a weekend with a matching can of paint and stuff, you could improve some of these areas if you wanted to. That would be one. The driver's door looks to be in good order, as does the passenger door. Just a little bit of grot creeping in at the bottom of that wheel arch, and that's the rest of that sill there. Having put the car up in the air, you won't be surprised to hear that there's a nice covering of corrosion pretty much on every piece of metal there is. The car has never been undersilled, and any repairs that were required have always been carried out. I understand some welding was carried out in one of the past MOTs. As I get close here, I can see a little crease here in the bodywork. This door looks as if something's caused this little dent, and because of the shape of it, there's no broken paint. My guess would be that you could probably just pop that out from the inside. This passenger door on the near side looks in pretty good order, as does that front wing, and then the front bumper is pretty good, no scratches on the corners. And there's those new Michelin Energy Saver tyres. So yeah, a bit of surface corrosion on this front wing is probably the worst area. And then as I step around the car, I pointed out that little bit by the arch. And if we have one little look round together, you'll see that certainly from this sort of 6 foot away walking around the car test, she doesn't look too bad. And on the other side, at the bottom of this arch, where I'll get up close, you can see there's a little bit of corrosion starting to take hold there. Wasn't any issue for the MOT, but at this age with this mileage, I know you're not going to be expecting the perfect car. And also at the price point, it does take into account this one isn't for winning any concourse shows, car show, classic car show front. It's a good modern classic which is extremely cheap to run, sensible to insure, and for a lot of people they were one of the best cars they ever owned because they loved all the comfort and reliability and low running costs of the Peugeot 405, and they are a rare sight on our roads. So I hope this walk around video has given you a good look at this trade-in. She's ready to go. The car itself was driven across from Lincolnshire, which is a good sort of 150 miles away from our location down here in Hampshire. Didn't miss a beat, and it proved to be very reliable. In fact, for the half a tank of fuel it had in it, I think there's a quarter of a tank left. So perhaps it does about 600 to a tank full, I'm not sure, but it certainly didn't use a great deal. Well, I'm very happy with the drivability of this car. A couple of bodywork issues that have been pointed out, but I don't think they're going to offend anyone if you're just literally going to get in and drive it as cheap motoring. And I think if you did look after it and perhaps carried out some improvements, I think it might be a good classic for the future as well, because they were always well loved. If you are looking to really help out on cost, it could be that perhaps we're taking this number plate off and selling it might offset the overall buying price. It's something we're not interested in doing. We don't take number plates off cars, but if you fancy selling it, and if it is worth as much as the previous owner told it was, then that might be a nice little cost saving overall on the car. I can't think of a great deal else to tell you other than the car does come with 2 keys. I've noticed there's a couple of spare door mirrors in the boot. This one's had a little bit of a knock here. However, the glass itself is in good order. Everything seems to work from what I can tell. You do need to use the key in the door rather than any remote central locking, I've got to add. There is 2 keys. There is limited paperwork, but of course it does come with its V5. It does come with paperwork from the last time the car was MOT'd in December 2022. Well, I think that's everything, folks. Please get in touch if you'd either like this car sent to you, which we can do at a sensible price. I have a word of our transport department, and there's the truck. Or to save money, there's a railway station about 5 minutes in that direction. You can walk around here, pick it up and drive it anywhere into the UK, and I would say this car is capable of driving anywhere. There is no known issues as far as I'm concerned. It's all good, having been checked over in the workshop. It drives very well with no untoward noises. A pair of new Michelin tyres on the front, and always maintained by the previous owner since the car was new. So there's no previous owners on the logbook, it just says none. So this is going to be an opportunity for you to be the second driver of this Peugeot 405 with 248,000 miles. Danny at Bradley James Classics, signing out. Thanks, folks.